Hello, Acharshin. A new student started with me last week who asked me a question about there is and there are, which reminded me that I had intended to do a follow-up video to my video on here and there to discuss there is and there are in Gaelic. If you remember, in my previous video I had talked about the fact that in Gaelic you can have anseo for here and shin for there, near you or in the middle distance, and shin for there in the far distance, not near me, not near you. Then I also talked about the fact that you could replace that with aun, meaning in whichever place. If you think about there is in English, there is has the word there in it. But you can say there's a car here, there's a man here to see you, there's here. It may not have struck you before, but that's rather odd. Yeah, it's rather odd that English does this. You can say there and here in the same sentence. Well, in Gaelic we don't have this problem because we can say ha car aun. And that's using aun, which can be either here or there. It's just whichever place we've been talking about. Ha car aun. There is a car. Now, when I've been teaching English to speakers of Spanish, I find a lot of them get rather confused with there is. They don't want to repeat there in a sentence like there's a car there, there's a house there, there's a shop there. What they say instead is simply there's a shop, which to me always feels rather incomplete. Now, the other thing they do that can be kind of funny is they would say, instead of saying there's a car here, they actually change there to here and say here's a car, which means something entirely different. Now, I know I've gone a bit off-piste maybe by going into English, but what I want to demonstrate to you here is that there is and there are, it seems very natural to us as English speakers. But it's a very unusual way of doing things, and it's something that's quite unique to English and certain related languages. Even German doesn't say it. German says it gives. It gives a car. Es gibt. It seems very odd to us as English speakers that they would do it that way, but you know, it normally seems equally strange to speakers of other languages that English does it this way. And one thing I would always recommend doing when you come across something in Gaelic or any other language that you think seems very odd is to look at it the other way round. Look at the English and ask yourself, well, why does English do this? Isn't English weird for doing this? Because in the long run that will make it easier for you to learn the new language. So, there's a car, ha car aun. But as I said, there's a car doesn't seem particularly natural in English. We would normally want to express a location. Like, why are we saying, where's the car? Where does it exist? And why are we talking about it? There's a car here. There's a car coming. All of these things. And that's English usage. Gaelic is slightly different. Gaelic is quite like English in that it uses a similar idea of here, there to express there is and there are. However, just like those Spanish speakers I was talking about, Gaelic speakers don't want to repeat themselves. They don't want to give two locations. So if I wanted to say there's a car here, I would either say ha car aun or ha car anseo. A car is here. Because once I've said the location once, I don't want to say it again. There's a man at the door. Ha dunne ekendoris. Literally, a man is at the door. The full meaning is encoded in that sentence. A man is at the door. You don't know which man. It is, there's a man at the door. Now I say Gaelic doesn't want to repeat location by saying aun and another location, but as with many things in Gaelic, that is changing. It's changing as a result of contact with English and the fact that every speaker of Gaelic is bilingual in English. So it's not wrong to use the aun as well, ha dunne ik an doras aun, because some native speakers will do that. My own observation though is that it's rare, and it's extremely rare for them to say ha car aun sa garage aun. They're particularly averse to repeating aun in the same sentence. When it comes to a choice between a modern form that's like English and an older form that's further from English, I always recommend going for the older form for two reasons. First up, it's easier for you to learn the one that's more like English. If you have learned the more difficult one and you hear the easier one, you will have no problems with it later. But if you've learned the easier one and then you start hearing the more difficult one, well, that will make it harder for you to pick up. There won't be as much information. It won't be as easy for you. But more than that, on a philosophical level, I feel it's not my place to be at the leading edge of language change. I accept that language change is natural, and I accept that Gaelic is changing like any other language. But I shouldn't be ahead of the native speakers on that. I shouldn't be pushing the language to change. I will accept it changing, but I will not change it myself. Go you. It's enough for now. Cheers and drasta.